Hi, everyone. It's Corinne.
And Carmela. Hello.
Hello, and we are here to bring you a simple color training for the roles of registration and scribe.
And you will get the link to home.color.com that you see on the screen. And when you go in, if you want to, after viewing this tutorial, you can do it this way, and we'll just go through it. If you have questions, you can contact me, Carmela, or Corinne, yeah, and we'll try to help you through it. But for now, here we are. So for the color training, if you go into the sandbox, which is what this is, it's a dummy account page that Color has set up for training purposes. So that's where we are. If you decide to go in at a later time, you'll see this screen right after you log in, and you want to select the on-site tool. And you want the fake Boston site, which is right there. That's the one you want because it's a fake site.
But if you were at a clinic, the site listed would be the clinic site that you're at. And so from that point, you would see this. Would they have to check vaccination?
Yeah, so you would want to hit vaccination for checking in patients and administering vaccines.
Okay.
Then you will get a screen that looks like this. The checked in are people that have already been checked in, so you don't need to worry about that. But let's just look at it. So this child has been checked in. Vaccinated are people who have already gotten the vaccination. Remaining, no one's remaining. So we're going to add someone.
This is where somebody comes up to the table. They're wanting to register for the clinic.
Correct.
So, right. So you are in the registration role. So you're going to start by clicking add patient.
So, and the first thing you need to do is put in the patient's birth date. So we already did this once, but I'm going to change the date to this. So you ask for the patient's birth date, which they should have, obviously. And then you want to check what they're here for. So for these clinics, it'll probably be COVID-19 and flu. But if it's only COVID, then just click COVID-19. If it's only the flu, only click flu. For the clinics, I haven't actually worked a clinic, but I'm guessing that you're only going to have those two choices. So it'll be a less lengthy list. So is the patient moderately to severely immunocompromised? For the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to say no.
So these are the questions that you're going to be asking the person in front of you.
Yeah. Now, if they say yes, they'll probably kick you out and say you can't get your vaccine today. But I don't know that for sure. But let's just say they're not.
Most people won't be.
How many vaccines has the patient received? If they say 4, they'll say you're not eligible. So let's say they've had 2 and this is their first booster. So then they're going to ask you for what kind of vaccine did they get. So let's say it's Johnson & Johnson. You'll see this on their vaccine card that they will bring with them, or they may just tell you if they've lost their card. Either way, it's okay. Just put in whatever it is. And the most recent, we're going to say, was also J&J. And the date of the last vaccination is whatever the date was of their last vaccination. Let's say it was August 8th. Again, that information would be on their vaccine card. So what is your relationship? You're not the patient, you're other. So you put in your name and then you certify that the patient has authorized you to input this data, which they have because they're at the clinic. This is contact information already filled in for me. That's my phone number and my email address. Patient's name and date of birth. Let's say it's Susie Ross, and her date of birth is 7/22/91, which we've already put in, so it should just pop up. Current address. I'm going to use mine, but I'm going to change it just so I don't confuse the system. If you would like to add information, please do so. We're going to prefer not to say. Then race or ethnicity, there's all these choices, just ask them. And then continue. They're going to ask you to confirm this stuff to make sure the information is correct about the appointment. And you'll confirm because they're there for their appointment right now, so there should be no reason for them to get in touch with you. Does this person have a disability? Yes or no? Let's say no. And here are the questions. Is the patient feeling sick today? So you would ask this to the patient. Are you feeling sick today? No. Have you received the vaccine before or during hematopoietic cell transplant or CAR T cell therapies? No, or they may say, I don't know. If they don't know, the answer is probably no. Has the patient ever had an allergic reaction to another vaccine or an injectable medication? So this is the standard question of, have you ever had an allergic reaction to any vaccine? Let's say yes. Does the patient have a history of myocarditis or pericarditis? Let's say no. Has the patient ever been diagnosed with multi-system inflammatory system? Let's say no. Does the patient have a history of immune-mediated syndrome such as this, or this? Let's say no. History of thrombosis with this, TTS? Let's say no. Has the patient had COVID-19 disease within the past 3 months? Let's say no. Does the patient have a history of Guillain-Barré syndrome? They'll say, I don't know what that is. You say you would know if you'd had it. So no. Have you ever had an allergic reaction to any of these, to any COVID-19 vaccine? Let's say no. If they say yes to any of these questions, that would be when you have to get the clinic manager over to help suss out whether they should be getting the vaccine or not. We're going to say continue. Now that was all for the COVID vaccine. They also have the flu checklist, right? So if they sign up for both, you'll get 2 screens asking these questions. And I think we said yes to that, no, and they've already auto-filled questions you've already answered. Then they're going to ask about health insurance. Do you have health insurance? They may have multiple insurance, which would be like Medicare plus a supplemental. They may not have health insurance. For these purposes, let's say, yes, I do have health insurance. And let's say it's commercial. And then this screen will pop up. You just click and scroll down until you find it. Like, let's say they have Banner Health, member ID number, whatever that is, if they have their card, group ID number, if they have their card, or you can say, I don't know. Oh, no, you can't. See, there you go. So we need we'll just say it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If they do have insurance, They should have their card with them. If they don't have insurance, then you click, I don't have insurance up here. If they have insurance, but they don't have their card, then you would click, I don't know. Because if they know what it's called, but they don't have their numbers, it won't let you continue. Who is the policyholder? Self-evident. Let's say.
And so that may be a good question for, maybe a question that we can get answered in advance, or a good question for the orientation period for the clinic, which is you show up a half hour early and this is why. A little Q&A. A good question would be, what if somebody has insurance, but they don't have their card with them, then what?
Yeah.
Right? So questions like that. Okay. So basically, as you can see here, this is just a process of asking questions of the person who is coming for their shot.
Yes. And, if you run into things you don't know the answer to, ask somebody, and you'll occasionally run into things, but usually it's pretty cut and dried.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've answered all those. Let's continue and see what happens. Okay. Then they need to agree that to all these things that you can read at your leisure. Right.
That was, those were questions being asked of the individual or of you as the person?
No, of the patient, that the patient understands.
Great.
That what they've said is true and that they're getting registered in the color database.
Well, the good news is that's it for registration. And by the time you do 2 or 3, you're going to be an expert at it.
You're going to be clicking through.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's awesome. So that is all that's required to be a registration volunteer.
Then let's go through. Here's Susie Ross, who we just registered. So let's say you're a scribe and you're looking for Susie Ross. She just came up and said, I'm checked in and I want to get my appointment. So then you would go over here and say, okay, I'm going to vaccinate Susie Ross. You're going to confirm her name, her date of birth, her zip code, her address.
She's there for both the COVID and the flu vaccine. This is just
right. And if they change their mind, you can click this and say, no, I actually don't want the COVID vaccine today. But let's, okay, so let's, crap. I
go back up.
Let's go back. Okay, we're not going to edit the vaccines.
Okay, good.
Okay, checklist. The patient answered yes, they've had an allergic reaction. So for the flu vaccine, they often have eggs in the formulary. So if they have an egg allergy, you would need to bring over the provider, or actually you're the scribe now, so you would ask the vaccinator. You would say, look, they've had a reaction before. And then the person giving the shot, the nurse or the doctor, will actually have a conversation with them. And then you would click, yep, we've talked about it and we're going to keep going. The patient has been provided with the information sheet and they've talked to a medical professional and they have given consent for the shot. Boom.
Who's the medical professional they spoke with? And do they get that information sheet at registration?
I don't know. Every clinic I worked was different.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a question for the clinic manager when you get there.
Or one of the things that they will automatically cover.
The person who's giving the shot is going to be a nurse or a doctor. So.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, note that, okay, so here we are. We're going to administer the vaccine. Current vaccination details. They're getting an updated booster dose. It might be it's their first dose. It could be any of these things, right? So find the correct one based on their COVID card, their vaccine record. And then here, chances are that you will only have one option here that will be put into the clinic by the clinic manager before you get there. And it will be bivalent, expires next year. The vaccine type is COVID, is a Pfizer, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff will already be put in. Dosage, they give you a bunch of options. I believe at the clinic, they will tell you, they will have preloaded this. So you'll just click on what is available. This, however,
You'll know the answer.
they'll know the answer.
They'll tell you the answer. You'll know the answer. Just put the right
And
one.
then this is important. You will have to observe which place they get it. Usually only babies get it in their legs. So it's probably going to be the left arm or the right arm. Let's say it's the left arm. And then here.
It's me, I'm the doctor.
And Corinne is one of the doctors. Here, you're going to have a whole list of people who are vaccinating at this clinic, and you just need to find your vaccinator. Let's say your vaccinator is Alexander Torres. And then, okay, so we've got all this info, submit and continue. It's been recorded. And we already did that. Oh, this is for the flu vaccine.
Okay, right.
Right. So you have to go through it again for the flu vaccine. So let's say they want the mist, and let's say it's 0.2, and let's say it's right arm because
they're going to get one in each arm, most likely.
It's up to the patient. Some people will say, I'm right-handed and I need to write a bunch of stuff tomorrow, so put them both in my left arm.
Okay.
Or maybe the vaccinator will have a preference. You just have to watch and listen and click the right one.
Okay. And the good news is, as a scribe, that is all that's required.
Finish. You're done.
It's still a process of gathering information and just putting in the right information, which is often has to do with the drop-down menus that are provided. So pretty simple stuff.
Yeah. And some of it, I'm assuming, as I said, that they will load in the correct vaccine and the correct vaccinators. You will need to know the name of the person who's vaccinating, but you will introduce yourself, of course, because you're going to be working together all day. So that's the trickiest part, probably. So that's it, y'all. We're going to send this out. We're going to send you and let you know that if you have questions, you can contact me, Carmela, or you can just take your questions to the clinic. They are giving enough lead time so you can get your questions answered. But you should be pretty familiar with it by the time you get there because you just watched this.
And again, if you want to play around, we're going to give your email addresses to the color administrators now for this sandbox. And so you'll receive an email from them and you'll be able to sign in and play around with this if you want to. So because we're sending you this training, we're also asking that you go ahead and look at the sign-up schedule. Go ahead, please, and sign up for anything that you're available for that's in the future. In particular, if you can get to Williams College, that there's a big need. That's a big clinic. And again, there'll always be somebody around for questions, or you can reach out to Carmela, you can reach out to Christy, and myself. But hopefully, you have found this to be simple, and I know you'll do great.
I have no doubt. So thanks everybody for checking
Yeah.
and signing up.